Hey, everybody, welcome to the Inside Out Alignment Show, episode number 5. Today we have with us Executive Chef Tim Soufan. Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. So real quick, give us a little bit of background and tell us who you are.
Mike, I'm a chef. I have been in the industry for almost 40 years, and I'm a flavor expert and have worked with large chains and large manufacturers to develop great food and great tastes.
Right. And you and I met, I want to say 3 decades ago at one of your former employers, and that's how we got to get introduced and get to know each other. So it's been a pleasure for those 3 decades. I'm also going to say you are my first client, and I think most successful client to date with how much weight you've lost, and we'll talk more about that. And we're going to show you some before and afters, but it's been nothing short of phenomenal what you've done, Tim, to transform your body physically, and then we're going to talk about the mental side too.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so before we get started, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your friends. So Tim, let's talk a little bit about that background. So you are a chef by trade, very passionate about food and very, very talented when it comes to understanding flavors and balances of flavors. But give us a little bit of your background, where you're from, where you were trained, and just walk us through kind of the short version of some of the key chain accounts you work with and what you're doing today.
So I was born in Syria, and then later on moved to France, finished my high school there, and then came to the U.S. permanently, became a U.S. citizen. The transition also led to my gaining weight. I'll comment on that a little bit more. My passion was always food. I knew that since I was, very little. But I studied engineering, electrical engineering, finished college, and then after that, I decided I really don't want to do that. So I went back to France and trained in Saint-Ferrandi and the Cordon Bleu as well, and got my, culinary degree, came back to the US, started worked for Papa's Restaurants, TGI Fridays, Not Your Average Joe's in Boston, even worked for Denny's and Brinker International. I immediately realized that one of the best ways to reach people is through flavor and taste, because ultimately that's what people remember. They don't remember brands when they're hungry, they remember a taste. Right. So I kind of focused on that and became an expert at it.
So let's transition. So you're passionate about food. You grew up around food. Tell us about kind of your weight gain journey from childhood to adulthood, and how did that kind of manifest?
I am blessed with good health and a good mind, but I grew up in a household where food is a celebration. From there, I went to France, and I got exposed to the best of the best. I mean, I really think some of the best food is in France, and I lived in Paris and experienced incredible amount of cuisines. Worked in the kitchen, during the summer to make extra cash. And, the transformation of being a chef started in my mother's kitchen, my grandmother's kitchen. And then in France, seeing how food is manipulated and work together to give great food. And then ultimately I came to the US. I was somewhat chubby, a lot of non-activity. I'm not a sports guy. I think you have influenced me about doing exercise. I mean, from 3 decades ago when I met you, you were fit and trim, so you had a huge influence on me. But the weight gain here in the US came from, lack of mobility, and then also the quality of the food. There's such a tremendous amount of manufactured food. 20, 30 years later, truthfully, I became morbidly obese, and then I was faced with a situation where I had type 2 diabetes, I had high blood pressure, I had a lot of complication. I ruined my knees because my weight was tremendous.
Yeah, and we'll insert some before and after pictures here, because when you were at your biggest, you were morbidly obese, and now it's amazing the transformation. And I think what you talked about with manufactured food, you could also further silo that into hyper processed convenience food, right? And that's the kind of food you can eat without thinking. There's no fiber in it. There's no nutrition in it. It's a calorie. It's an empty calorie, and it's easy to overconsume them when you're not thinking and intentional. So let's transition a little bit about the stories we tell ourselves. We're going to get into the subconscious, and I know you've come to really understand what the subconscious is and self-image and identity. But I guess maybe thinking back to as you were putting on this additional weight, were there stories you telling yourself as you obviously were aware, you had some level of awareness about how big you were getting?
Well, I think I mean, it starts with a bit of a surrender. I think your subconscious mind is a very powerful machine that talks to you all the time. And it's not looking for your benefit. It just wants to feed itself, and I've thought about it. I mean, there were times where I said, you know what, I'm just never going to lose weight. You know what, I'm just going to surrender. I'm just a big fat guy, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You're never going to lose weight. Just sit back. Somehow in my late 40s or early 50s, I'm just going to die. So you know what? Enjoy it while you can. Eat all the chocolate you want, all the ice cream that you want. And it was sort of a subconscious self-fulfilling prophecy that just took me down a bad road that just got worse and worse consistently. I ended up in a position where it was even hard to sit on an airplane, not comfortable getting into or out of the car. I think at the highest level I was I'm 5'8", became 350 pounds. I mean, I was just an island on two legs walking, with redundant body size that shouldn't be. And frankly, it affected my I mean, I'm very strong, very confident, but also there was a hidden shame. There was a hidden, lack of confidence that was suppressed by anger, temperament. I've had many people call me fat F.
Yep.
I've had kids in grocery stores like, "Oh, mom, look at this fat guy," and you try to ignore it, but it stays with you. It's like it tattoos into your subconscious.
So you've hit on a couple really key points there, and that is you were telling yourself these stories, you were justifying these stories, and from a subconscious level, your subconscious at some point in our lives says, I'm only focused on survival, not optimization. So Tim, you've been gaining all this weight. You're still alive. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's fine. And then you get these external cues. Like you said, people make comments and it's like, see, like what I'm thinking, other people are thinking. So there's another validation point. So just keep doing what you're doing because everyone else sees it and it must be true. But all this was happening. A switch was flipped and you made a very intentional decision. Enough is enough. Can you walk us through a little bit about how that happened for you when you just had enough and kind of how you literally turned the ship?
I was having a problem with my left knee and it was set for surgery. Prior to doing the surgery, I stepped on the scale and not only I did not lose weight, I gained some. And in that moment, I was really embarrassed. Okay. And on a philosophical level, I said, you know what? There is a problem here. This is not going to stand. I have to change. And the change is not another diet. I mean, I'm the classic example of have tried many, many diets. Okay. And what I can tell your audience, and you've taught me that too, is that diets don't work. Okay. Diet is a temporary change of behavior. And once you achieve any goal, you go back to your old behavior, and then your old behavior gets you back where you were. And you're reprogramming your body to become more resistant to diets. Okay. And I said, I am not going to diet anymore. Okay. What I need to do is a permanent change. I need to commit to a permanent change. Okay. You and I've talked about this. And the first time I heard, I mean, really, I think I'm older than you, but the first time I heard about awareness, listening to your subconscious, how do you talk positive to yourself? And I thought, okay, I'll try it. It's kind of silly, but I'm a smart man.
Right.
But you know what? Within you, you're almost two people. You have your subconscious, which is most of the time is negatively inclined. Okay, kind of your lazy version of you, and then you have you. But if if you don't have the awareness, and that's what you brought up to me, is if you don't have the awareness, you're just not going to pay attention. 99% of all my problems is the stuff I put in my mouth. And I said, that's enough. I got to change it. But also, okay, I'm going to pay attention to my subconscious, what it tells me. Not only subconscious, what it tells me. The first time I heard about gut brain is from you. You talked to me about gut brain and how eating sugar and eating carbs, your gut becomes addicted to that stuff, and it sends signals to the brain and says, feed me more. You can't control it. You as smart as I am, and I'll tell you, I'm pretty smart, okay? I have found myself at 12 midnight going to the cupboard and stuffing my face with carbs and sugars, and you can't control it. It's tougher than you. It's strong. You can't control it. The way to control it is to basically first listen to your subconscious brain, tell them, okay, go ahead, keep thinking, that's fine, but I caught you, okay? And one thing I will tell your audience is that don't resist your subconscious, what is telling you. If you resist, it will multiply, it will quadruple. Just let it float. Imagine it's a helium balloon that's just gonna float away from you. But then you say, aha, I see you, bye,
Right.
float away,
Right.
okay? And then just keep doing that. So what do? You start talking to yourself positively. You start noticing what your subconscious is telling you is that go eat, that's fine. You're among millions of Americans that eats and are fat. That's okay. You're not by yourself. And that's what it tells you. And you need to say, okay, I see what you're doing. Go ahead and float away. Like a running river. Go ahead, run away. Okay, I am me. Okay, and that's what I want to do. And start saying to yourself, I'm good. I'm gonna eat better. And shockingly, after a journey, and mine is a real journey. I've been doing this for 3 years. Like I said, the highest I got was 350, and I'm happy to tell you right now, tell your audience, I'm 195. I have no cholesterol, I have no blood pressure, and most of all, I take 0 medication for type 2 diabetes. My A1C is 5.1, and my doctor told me I don't need to see you every quarter. I don't need to see you let's just do it once a year like normal people. And then there's the maintenance also. That means don't sit back and relax, because whatever you have stored, in your subconscious, it's there. So you got to keep reinforcing the fact. And again, you taught me that, is that you got to keep that positive momentum going and keep reminding yourself, compliment yourself, and tell yourself what an accomplishment that is.
Right. And so when you started the conversation, when you talk about yo-yo dieting, right, and why yo-yo dieting doesn't work. And a lot of that is because it's very tactical. Eat this, do that. It's tactical. It doesn't address what precludes all of that. And that is the way you talk to yourself, your self-image and your identity. What you just talked about is retraining your subconscious. We've talked about this before too. Like literally the secret to life is retraining your subconscious to align with what you actually desire. And that's what you've done. And we worked on that because by default, negativity bias, right? Negativity bias is the world has all of these bad things in it. Focus on the bad things because you don't want to die. If you see a cougar or a lion around the corner, that's focus on that. There's a negative. So we're just biologically built to focus on the negative. It's easy. And then we get into conversations about autopilot and reactivity. You said a very powerful word, and that is awareness. Being curious. Why am I in front of the fridge when I'm not even hungry? That's a habit. And so what you've done very, very successfully, mind you, is 2 things. One, you have reprogrammed your subconscious to align with what you want. That is, I'm the type of person who eats well, exercises well, self-affirmation, self-kindness, self-compassion. And the second thing you do is you continue to reinforce those messages. So at some point, the subconscious says, Tim is a completely new person. I give up. You've made the conscious subconscious, but in a positive way. So,
I want to add one more thing before, is that, look, when you start, it's not easy. I mean, there is some level of effort, okay? And the effort comes from the awareness, okay? You have to be aware of what you're doing, okay? I also want to comment, and this is a personal perspective, okay? This is, this is an observation and my very own opinion, is that the medical industry will give you pills. They're not going to talk. When I go to my MD, when I go to my endocrinologist, when I go to all these people, they are pill savvy, okay? They are not mentally savvy, because the way I fix the problem is not through pills. I fixed that problem through mental awareness and staying on top of it. And that's really the key, because a doctor will never resolve your weight problem. It's just never going to happen. Yeah. And there's other ancillary benefit to mental awareness. There's a lot of other things that's not health related, but relationship related, that has impacted me. So, thanks for making me aware of this, because my life had changed, not just from a physical standpoint, but also from a relationship standpoint, is completely different.
Yeah. And so it's interesting you talk about going to the doctor, the medical community, and what their kind of default response is, and that is to treat acute issues with medication or what have you, and so you could almost say, and this is going to get into fixed mindset versus growth mindset. When you go to a doctor and it's like, poor me, I've got all these problems. Oh, have a pill. It's fine. It's not you. It's kind of like a fixed mindset. Whereas the harder, more authentic and honest conversation is, you're fully capable of taking care of this mostly on your own. You have a growth mindset. What is a growth mindset? Is that anything in front of me I can accomplish, right? I'm not just the sum of my parts. I am so much more. I am capable of more. I tell myself I am capable of more. I am the type of person who can do just about anything put in front of me. And so what you've done is you created this awareness, you've reprogrammed your subconscious, you have created new identities, you have new self-images, right? Your self-image now is so different than when we had met 30 years ago. It's not even recognizable. So let's transition a little bit to self-talk today. So what does self-talk sound like for you today?
Well, self-talk right now is, for me, it's orientation. How do you, think of yourself as a TV set, and you have an antenna, and in order to get the best reception, is you got to position the antenna in the right way. Okay. Metaphorically, self-talk is the same way. If you want to win, if you want positive result, if you want to move, if you want to do anything, you have to position yourself in a positive manner. Okay. And you got to have the awareness, okay, to know that once your mind starts on that negative track, that you say, okay, go back to the helium balloon, go ahead, float away from me. But you could think that, but you know what? I'm going to be positive. I'm going to, someone cuts in front of me on the highway. That's fine. Let it go. There's a great cake in front of me. That's fine. I don't need it. It looks delicious. Good for it. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
It's how many years I have heard the power of positive thinking. Okay. And the power of positive thinking is so simple, but none of us practice it. There has been thousands and thousands of books, and everybody tell you, be positive, the power of positive thinking. It's extremely important. The story that you tell yourself, the thought that you tell yourself, and even if disaster hits, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to look down the road and I see the light. The light's good. It's shiny over there. I'm heading down that road. This is where I want to go. You are positioned in the right way. And I swear to you, as silly as that may sound, it works. Yeah. Okay. I was very cynical about all this. Like, no, it can't be that simple. It is that simple. Yeah. Position yourself in the right way, and where there's a storm, where there's mud and muck, don't go there.
Yeah.
Okay. I want everything in my life to be positive because there's so much negative around us. That's how you get there.
Yeah. And so you've also talked about future self. It's like taking care of future Tim, right? That's a big mantra for me is I want Mike, future Mike at 85 to say, thank you for everything you did. That now allows me at 85 to do everything, have this health, have this abundance mindset, be able to move easily, feel confident, have the right image. So you're always taking care of that future self, but you're doing it today. And that's what you're talking about. So this is great. Anything else to add on that, Tim?
Well, just on the last comment that you said, there's nothing you can do about the past. The past is the past, okay? The positive from the past is to learn from it, okay? And the future is not guaranteed, but what you can do is work on the presence, how you think, how you behave, and then what you will see is that the future will be influenced by what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
The presence, that's really where it starts. And that's really where you're going to be successful and achieve what you want.
Exactly. That's great. Okay, so we're just about out of time. We're going to finish up here. But before we wrap up, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your friends. So Tim, these have been great conversations, really good insights. Let me kind of end the conversation with an ask. And so you've been down that path of struggle, telling yourself stories about why you shouldn't reduce your weight, why you're not worthy, but you found a way through it. And so if some of the folks out there are listening to this and are struggling and need some encouragement, some words of encouragement, what's a nugget you can share with them that you think would be really helpful?
The biggest thing is make a decision, okay? Understand that diet don't work. It's a change of you got to change. And I can tell you, it's not that difficult, okay? From 350 to 195, okay? I'm the classic example of I can't do it. And all of a sudden now I'm saying it's really not that hard. Okay. I'm not saying it's a cakewalk. Nothing is a cakewalk. Okay. But if I could do it, you could do it. Trust me, you could do it. Okay. Because I was addicted to food. I was addicted to orange juice and Coca-Cola and all that stuff. I was addicted to it. I had to have it. And I just don't do it anymore. It's very easy. Just do it. Just make a decision. And once you make a decision, okay, and a decision it's made, it needs to be combined is how can I notice, how can I heighten my awareness and how can I catch myself and my subconscious doing what it does to me? That's what you got to do. Once you do that, once you master those three pieces, okay, you're going to be on the road of recovery.
You said it perfectly. And so it starts here. It's a decision, right? And so the Inside Out Alignment Show, what is Inside Out Alignment? It's aligning your subconscious habits with your conscious wishes and desires. So you start with an image, self-image and identity. I'm the type of person who, this is what I believe. And then you align all the skills and behaviors that get you to your goal. And that's exactly what you did is one, you created massive awareness, massive reprogramming of the subconscious, a massive shift in identity, self-image, the type of person who, and then through a lot of education and work, you increased your competence in how do I eat better? How do I exercise better? How do I meditate better? How do I manage stress better? How do I sleep better? So you built layers of competence. And the byproduct of all that competence is confidence. And that's the fuel that allows you day in and day out to make the right decision. So Tim, this has been great, super insightful. I'll share a link on how people can get in touch with you, but this again, thanks again for your time. And I look forward to seeing how people respond to the video and I wish you all the best. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Thank you so much, Michael.
All right. Bye, Tim.
Bye-bye.